the 5 Point Play podcast, the official Duke fans podcast of the College Huddle. And not only that, but the official podcast of the actual Duke fans. This is what we do. We come in after every game, before every game, and we shoot you straight. That's what we do. We had a game against Wolford. Wolford, Jack?
Wofford.
Wofford, okay. So
Wooford,
Jack,
Wofford, Wooford,
right,
don't matter.
Jack is
Lost by 40.
very,
Who
very
cares?
sensitive
As
to,
TK said before we started recording.
yeah, Jack's very sensitive to the actual pronunciation of Wofford.
I like pronouncing
Um,
things right, man.
that's
Human.
fair. That's fair, bro. That's fair. But we got right now. We got the Bay Force, and we got TK, the host, the point guard, as DH, the composer says. We also have the social media mogul, Louis Don's boyfriend,
I am still not
the
Paul
the, the,
Skeens.
the holder of the one of one Paul Skeens rookie card.
If someone
Jack.
wants to give me that card, then they are welcome to, but I have not pulled it yet.
All right.
The most interesting card I've pulled is numbered to 700.
All right. We got Coach P. Coach P stands for Pauls as usual, eating some chips right now. He's not even remotely engaged. But I will say that we also have the Do fan, the most controversial of the 5 Point Play podcast hosts so far. Um, I'll tell you what, man, good to have you back. People, yeah, real quick, people thought that we kicked you off because you weren't on the last one. Could you tell the people that you're still here to stay?
I'm always here, bro. Like this is my family. We are all family, and you know, stuff comes up, and
And that's when we got five.
without going into details, yeah, I've been going through it a little bit, but you know what? I'm here. I ain't going nowhere, and we're the 5 Point Play podcast, and we always got each other's back. So here we go.
No
That's
doubt.
true.
And the thing is that we're all here to talk about Duke. So, it used to be just AC and myself, right? And that's how kind of this whole thing started. And now we have five because it's the 5 Point Play podcast. But the reality is that we understand that, you know, we can't do this on our own. And, Jack has been a phenomenal person for us to bring on. And then Pablo, if he's even paying attention, he's a guy that is a guy that
My boy sleep.
can break down the X's and O's.
I'm here.
Perhaps I'm. But yeah, no, D brings the extra perspective though. Like he's a guy that brings that other perspective, and I think that that's what makes us unique is that we can bring all those different things. So we're gonna start tonight off with we'll talk about the Wofford, whatever. We'll talk about that game. We're going to talk about Isaiah Evans, man, coming back into the rotation. What does that mean? Does it mean anything? We'll talk about that. We got a mailbag. So if you're following us on Discord, please submit the mailbag. By the way,
You
jump
should
on
be
there
on the
anyway.
Discord.
Be on the
You can
Discord
get on
just for the
there. You can get on there for free, right, TK?
it's completely free. Be on the Discord. The reason you want to be in the Discord is the game chats are lit. It
Yep.
is lit. It is phenomenal. Be on the Discord just for the game chats alone, let alone the recruiting stuff that we get into. So do all that. Um, and then honestly we'll preview Arizona. We'll preview Arizona as well. But let's get into it, Pops. Coach P. Coach P stands for pause. When you watch the Wofford game,
Hmm.
what did you like? What did you not like? What
I mean, that
stood out
wasn't.
to you?
I mean, just basically, it just Duke was Duke, man. I mean, it's just a super superior team playing a team not so talented or not even close as talented as Duke. So, I mean, I felt like I knew what it was gonna be, bro. I told you it was gonna be the Diddy party, bro, and that's what happened. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying? So, I
you're gonna
mean,
have to clarify that. You're gonna have to
so
clarify that.
No, you do not.
it was
You
gonna
do
be a
not have to
smackdown.
clarify.
It was gonna
No,
be a
I think you do.
smackdown. I thought it was gonna be a smackdown meaning a blowout. When I say that shit, I mean it's gonna be a blowout. Pause. You know, it is what it is. So I mean, I didn't really honestly, I don't really know what you can take from the game. You know what I mean? Just because of the
Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, they did exactly what everybody in America thought that they would do. You know what I'm saying? Other than the
Correct.
haters, they probably think that, you know, oh, we want them to lose, so they're gonna say what they're gonna say. I think Wofford did miss quite a bit of open threes. And that's, you know, I've seen people chime in on that, like, oh, if they would have made their threes, there would have been a closer game. Well, no shit. It would have been a closer game. It would have been a blowout, though. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. I mean, that's just one of those things, man, that I just don't really look too much into games like that until we play in teams closer to our competition level, to be honest with you.
All right,
Arizona really going to be a true contest, to be honest.
yeah.
with
So, D, we're gonna get to Arizona for sure. But I want to bring it to you here. So here's the thing that I took away from that game, and I want to get your perspective on it. Is that, you know, Pop's kind of touched on it there. That, yeah, there were a lot of open threes, but to me they were rush threes. You know, where our defense is, I think, very elite at this point, and we're not even completely done. We're not a finished product. I think we're probably 75% of the way of where we're going to be to our defense. But at the same time, you know, we force you into shots that are very rushed. We force you into shots that are very rushed, and I feel like that's a portion of our defense that makes us really good. Where, yeah, they missed a lot of open shots, but they had to rush for those shots. What is your take on it?
the defense is great. I don't think you can watch any Duke game this season and say the defense is slacking. The one game that they didn't hit open shots is that Kentucky game. And if you take, like, what do we go, 3 for 15 from the 3-point line in that Kentucky game?
4
I
of
think it's
23.
3 for
4
22.
of 23. 4
Okay.
of 23.
23.
Whatever it was. If Caleb or Tyrese goes and just hits one in that second half, Duke wins that game.
Or
Going
Khan.
away.
Or
Going
Khan.
away.
Or Khan, who was 0 for 7.
Fair enough. Or Khan going away. Because there was 11 open looks, like wide open looks. And I don't think that happens anytime else this season. So, yeah, okay. We will take that Kentucky loss and we will learn from it. And I think it's crazy to say that a loss is going to make you better, but I think that Kentucky loss makes Duke better, if that makes any sense to anybody
Yeah,
listening.
I don't think that's easy.
I wanna say I think
Go
that
ahead,
a
Jeff.
loss will always make you better
Yeah.
because you get to look at what you did wrong and how to address that issue. Whereas if you win, you're not necessarily going to look at that. You're going to be like, "Oh, we won. What we didn't really we won, so that means we don't have to address anything." Whereas
But,
you lost, there has to be a reason why you lost, so you have to look and be like, "Oh, let's fix this." I
but
think a
Jack,
loss is a lot better for that.
there's a difference in this team and past teams where, like, this team is expected to win, right?
Yes.
Like we were all at countdown. All 5 of us were at countdown.
I was not.
And we're like, holy shit, this team is fucking unstoppable.
I was not there.
Except for
you,
TK.
you were there.
He was there in spirit.
In
I
spirit.
was
I was
there
about to
in
say
spirit,
in
yeah.
spirit. In spirit, he was there. But this team shouldn't lose. Like, on paper, this team shouldn't lose. Correct?
Yeah, you're
For
right.
sure. Yeah, no doubt. I
100%.
mean, I think that's what.
And we've got people on this team, veterans, transfers, top tier freshmen, that understand how to play the game of basketball. And I don't think they're going to miss 15 3-pointers again. It's just not going to happen. I almost feel bad for Wofford or however you say it. Like, I almost feel bad for them because they had to take the brunt of that loss to Kentucky.
But, you know, D, actually, that's a great point, right? I'll keep it with you here, right? Is that a Western Duke team would have been very slow to get into that game after a loss like that. against an opponent that they should dominate, but we didn't do that. We came out there, we dominated right away. And I think that speaks to me to the point of stuff that we talked about before the season about this particular team, where it's like, wait a minute, like this team's got something different. Like this team's different. It's built differently. Do you
You're
get that
right.
same feeling?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. This team is, when they're clicking on all cylinders, like we talk about a V8 engine, if they're clicking on all cylinders, this team is borderline unstoppable. They've got so many scoring options. They can beat you in so many different ways. They play defense. They rebound well. They play for each other. This team is tough to beat. Yes, yo, shout out to Kentucky. They made 7 of 7 3-pointers in a row. I get that. Shout out to them. But other than that, there's nobody in this country that can beat Duke if they're playing at that Duke level.
Well, let's be very clear.
And Duke just
Let's-
missed shots. Let's be honest. Duke missed
I'm
shots.
not saying let's just
Open
be
shot.
being very clear. I said it from the beginning. Duke is about 15, 20 points better than Kentucky, and I still feel that way.
I do too.
So
Yeah.
I do too. And I think that not to get off on a tangent, right? Because we'll still stay with it, and we got AC back as well.
AC, welcome.
Yeah, welcome back to AC. But the one thing, and I want to stay with this Wofford game because I think that kind of sets the tone, right? Is that I felt like with a lot of other new teams, AC, that maybe they would have started slow, they would have kind of lollygagged into it, and they probably still would have won by 35-40, right? But this team is like, nah, we're a little bit different than that. We're not going to play that way. We're just going to go for it. To Dee's point, though, earlier, and I don't want to harp on that stuff because we already had a podcast about it, but, the the Kentucky game, that kind of thing can linear. That can linear, right? That can linear, but what I liked about what we did against Wofford is say, okay, you know what? We got some other things going on. We're going to address them right away. You know what? Big Pat, go ahead and get in there. Isaiah, um, give me your interpretation of what Jon came out of that UK loss and said, here's what we're going to do going forward.
Yeah, I mean, well, you heard what he said in his press conference about needing to make some tweaks and changes and things, and he even said it because he sees what the fans are saying. He said he's aware of the things that are going on. We're talking about a week removed from the Kentucky game, right? So this game will be a week later. So do I think there's going to be broad sweeping changes? No. Do I think Isaiah Evans will see minutes in the Arizona game? Yes. I think he proved himself. I think he played good defense. I think he rebounded. I think he did things that you would like him to see, or like that what Jon would like to see him do to earn minutes on the floor. I thought Pat did the same thing. I thought he earned minutes on the floor, but you're still talking about an Arizona team. We'll get to it when we do the preview. They do play a little bit smaller. So that's going to limit maybe Pat a little bit, how much he's going to play. But at the very least, the bench scoring and things like that, you definitely saw Isaiah Evans. I think he wants to play, and I think Jon's going to listen in this case, but we'll see what happens with Arizona. Like I said, it's a week removed. So does he just go right back to the 8? I don't think he'll just do that. I think he will play Isaiah, but if Zay's not hitting shots or if Zay's not picking up defensive assignments or something, he's going to be sitting right back down, and then Jon's going to go back to his 8, and then they'll work on it in practice or whatever else happens, right? But I mean, we beat Wofford. I think you guys touched on it. The defense looked great. I think the offense could have looked better, but I think that Jon was doing some things. He was working some lineups and working some other things. Like we could have kept the hammer down and scored 100 points, but we didn't. I thought we kind of slowed things down a little bit to work on some other stuff, and I think that's what you got to prepare for, right? Because I know what we're saying. We're saying that on paper, all things equal, you playing your best game, us playing our best game, Duke should be 10, 15 points ahead of everybody in college basketball this season. And that is 100% true. But what you have to coach for those games like we had against Kentucky where things are going totally wrong. That's what you got to be able to coach for, and that's what you got to be able to plan for. You got to have a counter. It's just like playing the game. You always got to have a counter. So if the defender's shutting off what you do, you got to have a counter to that. So, the counter to not being able to hit shots, all right, defense. But then the defense left us because we allowed Kentucky to shoot 40% from three. We allowed straight line drives, things we normally don't allow. And yes, like Commons hurt or whatever else. But what if Commons in foul trouble, right? What if Malik's in foul trouble? We still got to be able to prepare for that stuff. So I think Kentucky shed a spotlight on some of the weaknesses that this team does have. And thankfully it's in November where we can work on that shit and fix it. Because yes, I know like we're talking about November and it's like, yeah, but we're talking about November. Like teams get better. Teams fix things throughout the season as it goes along. I think
I'll be honest.
it's a fallacy to say that teams don't fix things as things go along, especially a team, if we're talking about a team that's this talented. If we're saying that they can't fix a problem in November and they can't fix it moving forward, moving into March, then this team really is as good as we say they are.
I'll be honest, AC. I don't think that I agree with what you're saying, but that Kentucky team came out hot. You know what I'm saying? Like they hit.
This is again what you coach for, right?
6 of 6 from 3.
Oh, that's gonna happen.
All right, it is gonna happen.
Historically speaking,
that's very rarely to happen. That's very rarely to happen.
Okay, historically speaking, let's talk about the 2001 team that played Maryland in the Final Four. Maryland came out with one of their best shooting performances they had all season. You're talking about a team that the next season won a national title. They came out and beat the dog shit out of Duke in the first half. Duke shot as
like
bad
41
as
to 20.
Could. They went down 22, which is the most the team had ever been down in the Final Four to come back and win a game.
I remember that game.
Duke flipped the script and ended up winning by 11. 33-point turnaround. So what I'm saying,
I agree with you, but I'm saying it's very rare that a team comes out shooting that hot.
You're exactly right, but you need to be able to coach against that in a one and done scenario in March. And that's
I think Jon did a great job coaching against it, honestly.
I'm not saying he didn't.
I'm not sure he did, Jack.
Well, hold on. Go ahead, Jack.
I mean, that was a 5-point game, and that game was tied with 10 seconds left. Like, I think Jon did a perfectly good job. Duke was winning by 9 at one point.
They were winning by 10. But the other thing is,
sorry, they were winning by 9 at halftime. They were winning by more than 10. I think they were. What was the biggest?
They had a double-digit lead, I think, twice in the game.
They had 12 at one point.
Yeah,
it was 12. That's what it was. Thank you, D.
The other thing, Jack, real quick, and I'll go right back to you though, is what I kept coming back to even before the game was I feel like our defense is really good, and we're not a finished product on defense, but we have a defense that if we play well enough, we can withstand a rough shooting start. And we had a actually decent shooting start. We had a terrible shooting start to the second half, and that's kind of what ultimately did us in. But our defense ultimately kept us in both halves of that game, and we were up by 9 at halftime, right? So
we were up by 9 at half. We were up by 9 with 13 minutes left.
Right, exactly, and that's when Seahawks went down because I think I said that.
That I think is what really did us in.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
The lack of shooting is what did us in.
I
think it was the lack of. I think it was the lack of stamina.
I don't agree with the lack of stamina.
I think it was a combination of it all.
Right, and everything we keep listed. There's so many different problems that happen, and that's.
I know these guys are all addressing them.
Somebody pull it up. Somebody pull it up. What was the 3-point differential? What was the what did Duke shoot? 3 for 15 from beyond the arc?
No, it was like 4 for.
It was 4 for 23.
It was 4 for 23 in the game, but the problem is that it was like 3 of 11 in the first half, and then 1 of 12 in the second half. That was the problem.
Duke was 4 for 23 for the game. Kentucky started. Duke was 4 for 23 for the game. Kentucky started 5 for 5 and finished. Kentucky was 5 for their last 20.
Correct. And so, like, the defense is not the issue. And I think, D, real quick, before I get to you there, like, I will say this, that, like, Duke defensively can withstand a lot of different things. And so, like, Kentucky went out and started 5 of 5. They're a very experienced team. That's why I agree with AC when he says, it's not the experience thing that I think is our doom and gloom. I don't think that's the issue. And I think that people that say like, "Oh, it's the experience that won them the game at the end because Cooper
No,
sniffed it at the end," get out of here.
that
Like
shit don't have nothing to do
that's
with experience.
it has nothing to do. It's garbage. Now, if you want to, kind of claim that we should do something different, X's and O's, I'll hear you out. I'll hear you out. That's fine.
My
I
point
think
is,
I think that's
what was the 3-point percentage for Duke in that game?
17%.
17?
we were
3
423,
for
so
17?
whatever that is. 423
No.
or whatever.
4 for 23, 17%.
17%, and Kentucky shot 40%.
Okay,
We're lingering on we're beating a dead horse.
I'm
no,
not sure.
we are.
but that's my point, AC. Like if
I
you
don't
hit,
think it is.
okay,
My point is
Because
that this can happen, right? Let me finish my thought because I didn't get to finish it from earlier.
yeah,
My point is that this can happen any given game. I know we're saying, "Oh, this can't happen again." It can happen again. It probably will happen again.
It probably will.
But-
yeah.
Basketball.
But what you have to do is you have to be able to counterpunch that. Like, and it's not just defense. Like defense, offense, good offense versus good defense. Offense 90% of the time wins out because defense is reactionary. All right. So we can't just sit there and rely on the defense either, because we kind of did that. We kind of tried to rely on the defense to get us through that rough patch, and it ended up not working because they hung around for so long. And they did out stamina us. Another problem, right? So, and that's a problem that you have with experience versus freshmen. Freshmen usually don't last as long as older players do because older players are used to it. They're used to that grind. So, yeah, that happens, right? We're talking about November. By the time March comes along, they're going to be battle tested and all the other stuff when it comes to that. Blah 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 blah. Ultimately, there are parts of this team that need to get better in order to counteract a bad 3-point shooting night. We should have been able to get some more interior buckets that we couldn't get. We should have been able to get some more mid-range buckets that we couldn't get. We should have been able to get a little bit more out of our 2 starting guards that we didn't get. And there's ways to devise that, right? There's X's and O's ways to fix that, right? And so I think that's where ultimately this team is going to live or die. I think if we just rely on this pick and roll offense where we're just playing 5 out the whole game, that's going to be trouble. But if we do learn, and we did it against Wofford, to play a little bit more interior, play a little bit more of a slow down game at times where we can get those tough 2s that you need to get to win games and extend leads and yada yada yada. If we're able to do that, then now we have a counterpunch to not being able to hit 3s. But if our answer to, well, we can't hit 3s, so we just got to shoot more 3s, or Darren's got to play because he hasn't played a single minute all season, but he's going to come in and save us, we can't rely on that, man. That's too much to put on somebody who doesn't play. And it's the same thing for Isaiah. It's like, oh, well, we should have just put Isaiah in. It's too much to put on him when he wasn't a part of the game plan, because he clearly wasn't a part of the game plan in practice. That's why he picked up a DMP in that game. They practiced this game for the Kentucky game. They practiced for 8 players playing. They did not practice for 9 players. They did not practice for 10 players. So moving forward,
he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
That's one of the things you would like to see. That's one of the things we would love to see Jon have some trust in. Is okay. Now we're including 9 in the game plan. Now we're including 10. Pop's talked about it all season. He would love to see this team play 9 or 10. All right, we got 11 capable bodies. We're not going to play all 11, but can we get an extra? Isaiah Evans is gonna fix the bench scoring problem, right? Because against Kentucky, we only hit 6 bench points. So you would think that Isaiah Evans could fix the bench scoring problem as long as he's a part of the game plan. You would think that Pat Ngongba could help fix the rebounding issue or the interior scoring issue if he's a part of the game plan. But if he's not going to be a part of the game plan in practice during the week, then he can't be a part of the game either.
Yeah, I think that's right.
This is why I texted y'all and during the Wofford game. What is the number for red shirts? What is the number for who can play after a red shirt, medical red shirt, etc., etc.? Like, I don't think Isaiah is the answer. I don't think Pat is the answer. Like,
why wouldn't they be an answer if they're a part of the game plan? Because now you're talking about, because now that helps fix the stamina issue, because now you're not playing your bigs.
But I don't think that's a part of the answer, AC. I don't think Isaiah is the answer. I don't think Pat is the answer.
Why couldn't they be a part of the equation?
They could be, but like we've always said for 3 years now, you don't play 9, 10 people.
Well, maybe you do in this case.
I don't think you do.
I mean, you can.
I think you can, and I think that
just practice
Isaiah
for it
and
and
Pat have
game
both made a
for it.
very good case for why you can.
Exactly.
You definitely can.
I do not think Harris, Evans, or Pat made a case against Wofford to be a perennial part of this team, if that
I
makes
guess
sense.
we'll see against
So
Arizona then.
so
If what you're saying is true, sorry, TK, if what you're saying is true, then against Arizona, then you are prognosticating that we will only play 8, nobody else will see the floor. Is that correct?
Correct. Like
Okay.
like we've always said for years now, come March, we got an 8-man rotation, correct?
for sure, no doubt. And but AC's question is still valid, right? Are you saying that when we play Arizona on Friday night, are you saying we only play 8?
Yes.
Okay. All right,
All right.
Pops. What is
What
your
up?
prognostication?
I mean, I'm always a think outside the box type of dude. I never subscribe to one certain way, man. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different ways you could do things in basketball. So why be stuck on one thing? You know, why be stuck on 8 if you have 10 or 11? You know
Right,
what I
but
mean? That just
what
doesn't
would
make
you
any sense.
what do you see happening though?
Against Arizona,
Yeah.
they're gonna play.
Continuity.
They're gonna
So
play.
you think that there's gonna be
I
more than
definitely
8?
think they're gonna play. I definitely think that we'll play 10 guys for sure.
So you see
And what we'll do
Pat and Isaiah being
what
those.
happened to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what we're gonna try to do is what happened to us. I think we're just gonna try to wear teams down. You know what I'm saying? With our depth. You know what I mean? I think we're gonna implement some of that where you see these guys are they're gonna play going forward. You know what I'm saying? But you know, it's just like anything, they gotta earn their keep. You know, if they can go out there and make a difference, why wouldn't they play? You know what I'm saying? Like it only makes sense like for them to play, you know what I'm saying? And like I mean, our first 8 is fucking better than everybody in the nation anyway, you know what I mean? So throw 2 more in there, shit, you only get stronger. You don't get any weaker. I mean, that's how I feel about it at least. So
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
Jack. That's fair. Jack, where do you fall on that? Because I think that I see what he's saying. To be honest with you, I definitely understand what he's saying. Where do you fall on it? Like, do you feel like it's like, all right, Arizona, shit, we're gonna play our 10?
I think we see 10, if not 11. I don't know about Darren. I mean, I expect Isaiah and Pat to play because Pat, at the very least, gives you 5 extra fouls at the center spot. He has a job. He's going to do that job. That job is be there when Malik either has to be on the perimeter or has to be on the bench, and Kaman has to take a rest or is in foul trouble or any of that. Isaiah, I think we'll have a whole segment about Isaiah, but I think right now I'm impressed by his play against Wofford. It is against Wofford. I do see D's point there, but I think he's going to play. He's a 5-star recruit. He's a solid player. He'd be starting at almost any other school in the country. I don't think there's a reason not to play him in a game in November.
I think the other thing
I
there.
agree. I agree with Jack.
Yeah. And I think we'll move on from Wofford, and I think we go right into Isaiah Evans. And so let's talk about Isaiah Evans right now because I think that he's like the lightning in the bottle, type of. If you're a Duke fan, you're trying to figure out why is this guy not playing? Why is he only getting spot minutes when he is? He came out there last night, or 2 nights ago, I guess, when you're listening to this. So 4 of 8, 4 of 7 from 3, 2 of 2 from the line. By the way, those 2 of 2 from the line I think should not be undercounted because he was sitting on the bench for 15 minutes and then came in and knocked down 2 free throws. That's not an easy thing to do. Either way,
Free throws count.
he had 15. He tried to play really well defensively. D, I think he's a guy that needs to have minutes. I really do.
I'm not saying he doesn't deserve minutes. I'm saying I don't know if he's ready for those said minutes, if that
Can
makes
I
sense.
ask you a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. All right. So here's my question then. Is that when, to your point, actually before, the game against Kentucky, you pointed out that we started 1 of 11 or whatever it was. When we need shots, he's a guy that can come in and make shots. Wouldn't he be a good guy to come in and help us diversify?
He's a guy, and I've said this before the season started, to be honest. He's a guy that can create his own shot. I'm not saying he's the guy to create his own shot beyond the arc. I'm not saying any of that, but I'm saying he was the guy that if we're gonna pinpoint a dude on this Duke team that can create his own shot off the dribble, off the bounce, that's him. But is he the best option for this Duke team going forward? I'm not convinced of that. I don't think.
When you say option, what do you mean? Like number 1 option, or like what do you mean?
I don't think he's the number 4 option. I don't think he's it yet. I
mean, we are talking about, so not to cut you off, right? But
no, you're good. Like, I mean, let's talk about it.
Yeah, we gotta be very clear in what we say, bro. Like,
let's
right?
talk about it.
So we are
he
talking
can take you off the dribble, but I don't think he's him.
Anything beside any, I'm not even talking about none of that right now, right? Let's be real now, right? We talking about Isaiah Evans, bro.
Yep.
We are talking about Isaiah Evans, bro, who is time and time proven what he is. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about. I'm talking about. We know what he is. We know what he's done, bro.
Against Wofford?
I'm not talking about.
This guy's number retired in high school, and he's like played 2 games.
I don't give a shit what he did in North Mecklenburg. What is he proving?
Listen, bro. Right? When you talk about being a basketball player, what, like, his game, if you break down his game, are you telling me that doesn't translate out there? Is what you're saying?
I haven't seen it.
Well, he hasn't had a chance to play. You know what I'm saying?
So wait a minute. Can I qualify?
He hasn't had a chance to play, though.
Can I qualify this for a second?
It has nothing to do with nothing to do with that.
AC, I would love to hear your qualifier.
Can I qualify this for a second? Because we've had one game against a tournament worthy team, and that's Kentucky. In that Kentucky game, who proved that they belonged on the floor, D? If we're talking about okay, it's fine, not Isaiah. If we're
one person, I think.
If we're talking about proving grounds, right? If we're talking about this guy proved and this guy proved, and Wofford doesn't count, and no D1 game, no other D1 game counts unless you're playing the number 1 team in the country. So if none of those games count, then who has proven so far? If we're only basing on the 1 loss to Kentucky game and 1 tough game we've had, who has proven that they belong on the floor right now?
Sion?
Cooper
and Sion, maybe, right? If that's the qualifier we're going to use, right? But we can't. It cannot be in a vacuum like that. And one of the things Isaiah Evans brings is instant scoring off the bench. He brings.
He's a microwave.
If we're talking about a team that is preaching competitiveness all off season, he's one of the most competitive players on the roster. All right. And it's college basketball when you're talking about freshmen. So none of the freshmen have proven anything because they've only played 3 games if we want to go that far. Who they need to prove to is not us as fans. It's not the media. They need to prove to Jon Scheyer that they belong on the floor. And if he has proven to Jon Scheyer that he belongs on the floor, then you will see him in the game against Arizona. Now, Isaiah Evans is one of the, just like you said, one of the few people who can get his own shot, this and that. He's a microwave scorer, all those things, right? He's also one of those players that he'll come into a game and he's either going to get 5 minutes or he's going to get 25 minutes because he's either that hot and he needs to be on the floor or he's dead cold and you cannot play him. So we'll see what happens. But at least he's going to get the chance to show it. And I think that's the biggest thing because, again, you're talking about games in November. Yes, games you have to win, but still you're talking about games in November. So he is absolutely going to get a segment in the first half against Arizona to show if he's doing what Jon needs him to do. And if he's not showing that, then he probably sits the rest of the game, quite honestly. And then we roll with whoever else we have. Like Pat Ngongba.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Pat Ngongba, this might not be the game for Pat because of how Arizona gets up and down the floor. So maybe we see 10, maybe we only see 9, but I don't know that Pat gets more than 5 minutes this game. Maybe at the end of the first half to spell Kama and Malik to keep them out of foul trouble. And then we roll into the second half, and then he doesn't see any more minutes against Arizona because it's just not the game for him, in my opinion. We've also talked about how Pat.
We've also talked about how Pat and Man are different bigs.
They are different bigs, but one of the things we also talk about with Pat is that he is not one, he's not necessarily built for the up and down. Number two, we still don't know how his foot is responding to game action and stuff. So we just got to see how that plays out. Let's see how that plays out. Let's see how it plays out.
So everybody's got a foot injury, right?
Exactly. Let's see how it plays out against Arizona. But we're talking about Isaiah Evans right now, and I think if you're talking about lacking bench scoring, if you're talking about lacking shooting options, and all that, I think he's going to come in the game and he's going to be the second or third option on the offense, because you don't bring Isaiah Evans in to be the fifth option. You bring a guy who scores like him in the game to be the second or third option. And if he's really hot, you bring him in to be the first option. Like, but I don't see that happening against Arizona where he's the first option, first read on the offense, unless he's just killing. But somebody who's that competitive,
over Harris any day.
I think right now,
if you're talking about coming off the bench, I'll take him over Harris any day.
I think he's ahead
past Darren in the rotation.
I think he's ahead of Darren right now, and I think he's going to eat into Mason Gillis's minutes too. Quite honestly, because I don't think so. I love Mason. I love Mason, and I love Malik. But I think Malik and Mason are both going to lose a few minutes because of some of the things. Malik has been a turnover machine, and Mason hasn't hit his open shots yet. If Mason's hitting his open shots, he plays. But if he's not hitting his shots, then you bring somebody else in for a few minutes. I'm not saying he loses all his minutes to Isaiah. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Mason might lose 2 or 3, 4 minutes here or there to get Isaiah Evans some minutes. So go ahead.
It'd be situational for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Can I say this though about Malik? Like, I know Malik has his turnovers, but
he's amazing. I love Malik.
Malik's a dog.
He's been awesome.
What I would say though is Malik's almost. I mean, not almost. He is. He's playing out of position. You know what I mean? Like, he's playing out of position a lot of times.
Having to play 5 kind of sucks for him a little bit.
Takes a lot out of his game.
And so, like, we talk about the addition of Pat, and I know that Pat's not going to play 25 minutes a game. He's not going to play 10 minutes a game. He's probably going to play 5 minutes a game. But the thing is that when Pat does play, if he's playing with Malik can go to his natural position at 4.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, AC?
Yeah, I mean, you've seen Malik play with Common so far in games at the 4, and we've seen that lineup, and until Malik makes himself a little bit more of a scoring option, you're going to see teams playing drop coverage on him a little bit. So now you're talking about messing up the flow of the offense a bit, where I think at the 5, at least offensively, he does belong there. It's just defensively, him having to play somebody back to basket is tough. But he's capable, right? He's fully capable of it. For 10 minutes a game, I think I don't see an issue with that. I don't see it as grossly out of position. I just think that, like you're saying, I think he's probably better suited being able to play somebody on the perimeter or perimeter or whatever.
It's an ideal situation,
right? But we really didn't get a chance to see him much against Carr either at the end of that Kentucky game, which would have been interesting, especially with Man being hurt a little bit. I mean, he did play him minutes against that. I would have liked to see Mason Gillis actually. With Carr coming from the outside the way he was, I would have loved to see if Mason Gillis could hold ground against him.
Would have loved to see some Gillis at the 5.
From the perimeter, at least, anyway.
AC, real quick, what I was going to ask is Pobbs. So, Pobbs, you and I definitely agreed on the starting 5 this year coming in. It would have been Caleb Foster, Tyrese Proctor, Cooper Flagg, Mason Gillis, not Mason Gillis, Colin Lunch, and Malik Brown. So you and I had those 5 as the 5, and was part of that because you thought that Malik would have been better off at the 4, or is it because you thought that those 5 were just a better fit?
Well, I just think that it's just playing him at his natural position. It gives him the opportunity to, kind of, play that center field type of role a little bit and just really help on everybody, and just switch on people and just to do different things. And I think it would open up his offense a little more too. He get a chance to spot up at the 3-point line and knock down some threes or some mid-range jumpers, do some things like that. So I mean, that's really why I think that it's best for him to play the 4. But I also think that they came in the season expecting Pat to be healthy and he was going to get those 5 minutes, you know what I'm saying? And so that would always keep Malik pretty much at the 4 unless something crazy was to happen and we got like a super mobile 5 that's like, and Kaiman was in foul trouble or something, then you throw Malik on that person. But it's just shaking out the way it's shaking out, man. So all it is just adjustments here and there, and I think everything is situational too as well. So you know, Jon Scheyer, he's adjusting as he goes, man. And I think he's doing a hell of a job, you know what I'm saying? Like coaching this team. You know, that's a lot of damn dudes to coach, man. That's a hell of a rotation to coach. And you know, people's in his ear talking about play this person, don't play this person, and just different things. So if Jon Scheyer was to listen to what everybody say, you know what I'm saying? Like the same people that are bitching about Isaiah Evans playing are probably the same people telling him to bench fucking Caleb Foster, you know what I'm saying, for after the Kentucky game and stupid shit like that.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
that's why, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying, you just gotta block out the noise and coach your team the way you see fit. Don't give a fuck about what nobody else is talking about. Fuck everybody else. Just coach them.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Jack. The one thing I was going to bring up is
Good
that
shit, Pablo. Good shit.
I see. I see a lot of people talking about what Jon Scheyer did or didn't do in the Kentucky game, and bitching about that. Well, those are the same people, Jack, that are bitching about the fact that Coach K didn't have these tough preseason games. You know what I mean? Like now we have all the tough games, right? So yes, we didn't schedule the Champions Classic, sure, but now we go at Arizona. We play Kansas in a neutral court. We play Auburn, who's a top 5 team now. Like Jack, like tell the people, like tell them right now, if you're gonna bitch about the way Coach K scheduled, now Jon Scheyer is doing exactly what you wanted. Stop bitching about it.
I mean, yeah, there's not really much I can add to that, TK. That was. I agree. I think you stop your complaining when yeah, okay, Duke didn't put together a cupcake schedule. They're having some games against really tough and
That shit keeps
experienced
fucking
teams.
up.
They're struggling. I don't care what you have to say if you are some random person with zero experience as a coach at Duke. The only person whose opinion I care about for this is
Tell him,
Jon
Jack.
Scheyer.
Tell him,
It's
Jack.
Jon. Jon is the person who is responsible for the rotations, for the starting lineup, for roster construction, for play calling, all of this stuff. I care what Jon has to say, and to a lesser degree, I care what Sewell and Jay
Bang,
and
bang,
Gildy
bang.
have to say. And Will Avery. I completely forgot about Will Avery. No
You
disrespect, Will
upset?
Avery.
My guy,
Hey,
my guy,
you're right.
my guy. But yeah,
Don't
no,
don't I don't care what you have to think unless you're one of those guys.
No, Jack, you're not wrong, bro. You're not wrong. Because at the end of the day, nobody gives a fuck about what anybody has to say about what those coaches and those recruiters have to say. Correct?
Yeah.
Like those are the dudes who built this team, right?
Yeah.
They
So
built the
going
team. They built the non-conference schedule. I
so
do not care about
so
what anyone
going
else has to say.
so going forward, we gotta trust in those dudes, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we've gotta trust that, like Jon Scheyer said, we're gonna shoot the most threes, we're gonna have the most possessions offensively in the country, correct?
He did say that.
He did say that, right? I'm
Yeah.
just trying to make
Yeah.
I'm just trying to clarify everything. Okay, so
And if
he
they're
said
running
that.
a run and gun offense, I want them to. I'd love to see it.
Correct. Me too. So there's going to be very few games where Duke goes 3 for whatever it was against Kentucky
Yes.
behind the arc.
4 for 23.
So if that doesn't change, we win every game. And I'm not concerned about how Duke is going forward. They play great defense, they rebound well, they play for each other, they shoot the ball at an extremely proficient percentage. Like it's a done deal. Like you're not going to see that type of game again.
Yeah.
So it's like a flip of the coin. It doesn't matter.
It's just basketball, bro. Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
I think we will see a game like that again, but I
it
think we'll be
happens,
back.
I
bro.
don't
And
think
like,
so, AC. I
That's
really don't.
that's look, that's
I
fine.
think
definitely will see a game where
Look,
Duke
we will.
shoots
I
terrible.
think we will
definitely
absolutely see a game where we're shooting under 30 or even 25% from three. But I think we'll be better suited to handle it this time, in my opinion, because we've seen it now. I think we'll be better suited to handle it.
AC.
I'm not saying it's happening all season. I'm not saying it's happening all season. There will be.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No. I was gonna say, Pablo, go ahead.
No, I'm saying like I agree with AC. Like it's just basketball, bro. Like there's definitely gonna be about 2 or 3 more times that Duke shoots that poor, for sure.
Not
100%.
that poorly.
And I tell you, I don't know, man. I don't know.
That 11% is crazy. No,
17.
30% is crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. But I mean, it's also basketball.
It happens.
Bro. It just happens. It happens in basketball. And the thing about it too, bro, I'm gonna tell you this right now, right? I'm the motherfucker who said they're gonna go 40-0, right? Now I changed it to 39-1. But what I'm also saying is that if we shoot that poorly against a good team, we will lose again the same type of way, for sure. 100%.
I don't think so. See, I think that's
yeah.
A good,
AC, hold on. I think I'm gonna say the same thing you are, so I'm gonna let you have it.
Go ahead. You say it then. No, you say it.
No. Go ahead.
No. Go for it. Because I got something else I'll talk about in a minute. You go for it.
Fair enough. I think I'm gonna say the same thing that AC wanted to say, and that's the reason that both of us, kind of, jumped at the same time. Pause. But Pops, the reason I think that we have an opportunity here is that defensively we are so good, and we are not even close to scratching the surface of how good we are defensively. Not only
I got you. I just don't think that. Not to cut you. I don't think that the defense was the reason why we lost that game.
No. I agree with that. And then the second part of that was going to be that if you look back at that game, right, we missed a lot of wide open shots. But some of those shots, yeah, go ahead, Pops. But some of those shots were, could you have done something differently? Could you have done something differently there? Like, because, yeah, they were wide open threes.
I mean, we can clip it up. We can clip it up and we can watch it. You know what I'm saying?
Doubt.
But I mean, what do you want to do differently if we're wide motherfucking open? Shoot the ball.
100% shoot the ball. 100% shoot the ball. And I think what people are complaining about right now is, oh, we were tired. I think that's a bullshit argument. I think
why
talk about that.
So
they were tired.
So I will say this though, right? If you look at it, TK, if you look at it, right?
Yeah.
Khan was 5 for 20. He played 37 fucking minutes, 37 or 38 minutes.
Correct.
He was definitely tired, for sure.
Correct. Can I finish?
think that definitely took a toll on his shooting, for sure, 100%.
No doubt.
Now Cooper, I think Cooper played 32 or 33. I don't think
Cooper did not sit the entire second half.
Well, if he played 37 minutes, he played fucking. He played.
I will demolish this. I will demolish all of this in 10 seconds. So,
I don't think that it took a toll on Cooper. It may have, but I don't think it took a toll on his decision making. Like at the end of the games, that game that we lost, that it's more so like it's like fluke shit, bro. Like it was just dribbling off his leg. Yeah. He spun into a double team basically where guys swatted the ball away. You know what I mean? But I know that the guys were tired.
They're gonna
at the
lose.
end of the day, bro.
Everyone calm down.
They're gonna lose 12 games if they're Cooper watching.
Hold on.
I don't think they will be.
I don't know about that.
Everybody calm down. So what's going to happen here is I absolutely despise blanket statements. Nobody knows that better than AC. Yes, Khan played 37 minutes. If the coaching staff knew that he was going to shoot over 7 in his last 7 shots, yeah, they probably would have taken him out. If they understood that, Cooper would have shot 1 for 11, yeah, they probably would have given him a break. But AC, break it down for everyone so they completely understand exactly why the rotation and how things happen. Just break it down so people understand.
Well, we already talked about it earlier, so I don't need to belabor that point. We talked about it. Going into the week, you practice how you're going to practice, and if John envisioned playing 8 against Kentucky, you envision playing 8, whatever. I don't care about that. Like stamina to me, November stamina is very different from March stamina. We'll figure that out later on. I don't care, man. I want to go back to the point about the shooting because yes, like here's my point because I don't agree that if we have a night like we had again against Kentucky later on in the season, I think we have learned from that. I think we will have better counters for that. And I want to point something out because I want to point out the 14-15 team because that's the team that we hold in such high regard. One of the best shooting teams that Duke has ever had. Yada 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 yada. All right, they have that team on record has 8 games where they shot below 27% from 3. They have games of 21%. They have games of 19%, 20%, 25%, 26%, 27%, 27%, and then 20% in the tournament.
Please.
All right. What that team had was they had a counter. They had a counter in Jahlil Okafor and being able
Low post
to
presence.
and being able to get low shots. And I told you on Spaces, I told you on this podcast, I don't care. I'm gonna beat the hell out of this point. We have a 7'2", 250-pound monster. We're starting to get Pat involved in the game again. We have low post scoring options. So the reason why I don't think that shooting like we did against Kentucky is going to spell doom for this team is because we do have options to be able to score in the low post, and that helps your team out. Jon is not going to push this team over 73 possessions a game. He's just not. Right now, we're averaging 72 possessions. Last game against Wofford, we had 65 possessions in that game. All right. So we're not going to average with Arizona when we get to this preview. Finally, I keep alluding to it. Arizona has 78 possessions a game. All right. So like we're not going to be that team. We're never going to be that team under Jon Scheyer. That's just not his style. He doesn't want to run like that. We're going to run opportunistically, but we're not going to run just for the hell of running. So being able to have some form of ability to hit difficult 2-point shots on the interior is going to be very important because D, like you say all the time, free throws are so important, right? So getting guys to be able to get to the line is going to be important because getting points with no time on the clock, especially if you're down, is important. That's what Kentucky did. Kentucky got a lot of shots when there's no time on the clock. And so where we didn't. So hats off to them for taking advantage of the straight line drives where we couldn't. Because when C and James went out, there went some of our straight line drive ability. We kind of lost that ability because he's one of the few people who can do that. And so being able to establish some form of low post presence, in my opinion, is very, very important for this team. And that's why I think we can withstand another night like we had against Kentucky. And we will see another night like we had against Kentucky because no team in college goes through every single fucking game shooting 50% from 3. They just don't. And if this Duke team does that, then they are truly, truly, truly historic. All right, if they do that. So and that's cool. But you can't bank on historic. If you're betting, you're not betting on history happening. You're betting on what's the probability. And the probability is we're going to have 5 or 6 more games where we shoot below 25%.
Big Robert, I've been preaching that all week, Brent. I swear to God.
You just said we're never going to have another game like that.
We're never going to have another game where we see another team shoot 5 for 7 off the rip from 3-point line.
Why not? We're absolutely going to see. Arizona might do it on Friday.
No, I don't believe that. I don't believe
Remember
that.
when Duke did that to UVA in 2019?
Yeah.
At UVA.
We will absolutely have a team shoot out of their minds against Duke. Because it's Duke.
It's Duke.
It's their national championship game.
Not from the arc.
Okay, cool. All right.
AC is right, by the way. Everybody is on national championship. But either way, here we got a mailbag. We got a whole mailbag.
That's Duke.
Yeah. I get it. That's the whole point. That's the point. That is the point.
The whole point my whole point is that we will have counters for that stuff. Sure. We've seen it now. We've lost. We've been damaged.
I mean, if you think about it real quick, like
just like Kentucky, a Hydra, you cut off one of our heads, 3 more are going to go back.
Sure. Kentucky went 5 of 5. And we still lost in the last 10 seconds.
We also didn't have a single turnover in the first half.
Correct.
That probably won't happen ever again this season either for us.
No, but turnovers at a certain moment mean something. So you can't go 38. You can't go 38 minutes with 0 turnovers.
This is not a disputable fact. I'm not disputing anything. I'm saying that we will probably not have another game this season where we have 0 turnovers in the first half. It's all circumstantial, is what I'm saying. This is not something. This is all rhetorical. I am speaking rhetorically right now.
Can we all admit that Duke got caught Cooper watching?
At the end of the game, that was the only option we had.
We already said that.
We're belaboring a point.
Let's move on.
Let's move into Arizona.
Let's play.
Yeah, exactly.
Next play. Fuck it. Next play.
Yeah, next play. So we already said this, and not only that, but yeah, I'll give you this one. I'll give you this one. So to Jeremy Wilson says, would love to get your thoughts on this one. Your take on long rebounds. Duke seems to give up a lot of long rebounds. I would also like to take time to. Sorry, I can't fucking read.
Hold on. You're breaking up, TK. Say it again.
My bad. Would love to get your take on long rebounds. Duke seems to not be grabbing those long rebounds. I know sometimes that they are something. I'm not sure what this is. Either way, long rebounds.
Did he send you a handwritten note via carrier pigeon?
Yeah,
What
what
is
is
going
going
on?
on?
Wait, before we start, I have something very important. Hold on.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Mail time. No, okay. Pause. Time.
But
Okay.
yes, something about long rebounds, and should that be an issue?
I'm not understanding the question per se.
Sure.
But
Okay.
Got it.
I'll give some context, and
got you.
I actually agree with the question, and Piles, maybe you can too. But like when I was watching that game, yeah, there was a lot of long rebounds, a lot of long offensive rebounds. You know, is that an issue for Duke going forward?
let me say before Pablo. Give me a second. Good players see the ball coming off the rim. And I'm not sure if that's what we're talking about right now, but when a ball goes up, good players find a body, they box out, and they see where that ball is going to go. And that.
Did he freeze?
Yeah.
I think he froze. Go ahead, Pablo.
It's like this, bro. In basketball, right?
Answer.
It's this thing that you do. You shoot from it's a 3-point line, right? You shoot from the 3-point line, and normally when you shoot shots that far, the ball is gonna come. It's gonna hit the rim a lot harder and faster. Pause. And it's gonna come off a lot further. So that's what's gonna create long rebounds. And then
Thank you, Torian Prince.
You just got to go up there and run and jump and grab them with both hands. That's all you got to do.
Thank you, Torian Prince.
No problem.
Can I address the question really quickly?
I don't think we're going to have an issue with long rebounds, basically, is what I'm saying.
Go ahead, Jeff.
So my take is, yeah, Duke had a little bit of an issue with the long rebound. That was, I mean, look at how the team was positioned. You'd Common mostly under the hoop. He's not going to grab a long rebound because it's going to go too far for him. Everyone else is boxing out mostly. That's generally a good thing. I'm not worried about the offensive rebounds. I'm regurgitating a lot of points that have already been made. I don't think we have an issue with the offensive rebounding on long rebounds because honestly, this was a game that Duke won by 50 points, and I think they were really. While I don't agree with doing this, I think they weren't necessarily giving it 100% by that point, and also Wofford was building a house with all the bricks they were putting up. Like, I don't mean that disrespectfully. It's just kind of a fact. A lot of threes, a lot of misses means a lot of long rebounds. Duke just wasn't giving their all on every single long rebound. In a game like that, you can get away with that. In a game like the one that's coming up on Friday, I don't know if you get away with that. I don't know if Duke will have that issue.
And Arizona is a good offensive rebounding team, especially from the guard position. They actually do a really good job from that. Number one, because they miss a lot of shots. But number two, their guards do get after it when it comes to the rebound. So that'll be a good test.
Yes. It's a great question.
D, we can't hear you, D. Hold on, D is muted.
Muted?
Now you're unmuted. Go ahead, bro. I see you over there. You mad about something. What are you mad about, bro?
No, I ain't mad. Y'all
preaching.
my homies. I am never mad about y'all. Caleb beats Duke all the time, correct? Let's be real.
No.
I'd rather not.
No, he doesn't.
How do we meet this guy again?
Caleb
What do you mean
beats Duke multiple times.
He has, yeah.
He has beat Duke a few times, yes.
Okay, so
I've lost to Duke a few times.
A few times means multiple, sir. Just letting you know.
Thanks for clarification. I appreciate it.
All right, you're
Thank
welcome. So
I appreciate it.
Duke needs to shut him down, and we cannot let him beat Duke in Arizona because Duke needs to make a statement. No, hold on. Duke needs to make a statement.
We're not at the Arizona portion of
That,
this.
that doesn't matter, TK. Now we're here.
We're here.
You got to shut him down. If we're going to talk about Duke being able to shut down scores, stop the 3-point shooting, put what down? All right, I'm getting yelled at both ways. Anyway, Duke's got to shut down Caleb. That's it.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. All right.
What's our next question here, TK?
Hold on. I got another one. So what are some ways we can keep Coop involved in scoring while still being the primary ball handler?
Coop?
That is a question from Mr. Mo 12.
Listen,
Involved while still being the primary ball. I'm going to defer this one to Pablo.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's
Pops.
so many different things you could do. I mean, you want to be the primary ball handler. I mean, you could do what he was doing all game against Kentucky. Just you could let him ISO. I mean, I know everybody's like, oh, well, we should run some action. We should do this. We should do that. Man, fuck all that. You know what I'm saying? Give him the ball. Tell everybody get the fuck out of the way and let him make a play. Period. You know what I'm saying? There are some other things you could do, obviously. You know what I'm saying? You could run them off screens, pin downs. There's floppy action. There's so many different things you could do. But you got to do everything to the strength of his game, though, right? Right? If we play him to the strength of his game, it'll be a little better. I mean, if we do some things with him catching and running, some zoom, some different things like that, man. And not just that, though, but some post-ups, too. You know what I'm saying? He's pretty damn good in the post. I'd post him up, too. You know what I mean? I post him up, in just different spots on the court. And, there's a lot of different things you could do, man. Just schematically, bro, you could do so many different things, bro. So many different things. I think people are so hung up on those last few plays, him going ISO, which, I didn't have a problem with, but, it didn't turn out in our favor. So, I mean, it is what it is. But there's a lot of different things you could do.
AC?
I think.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jack.
I mean, I was going to say I'm a big fan of the 4-5 pick and roll when you have a 4 who can handle the way Coop does. We've seen a bunch of it in the past with different guys. Zion occasionally did it, not super often, but occasionally would do it. It's a lot easier when you have a guy like Kaman who can stretch the floor if needed, because you don't have to worry about two guys, converging in the paint. Kind of leaves a little bit more space for Coop to do his thing. I like the idea also of a dribble handoff where Coop starts as the guy with the ball, but hands it off as a little screen action, gets him a chance to get into the paint. I think there's just so many different ways, like Pablo said, there's so many different ways to get Coop, as the primary ball handler and primary scoring option. Honestly, I don't really know if we see many games where he's either or both of those, unless it's down the stretch and he's been cooking all game like Kentucky.
I agree. I don't think if Cooper Flagg is the leading scorer, rebounder, and assist leader in the game, I don't think that bodes well for Duke in whatever game we're talking about.
I agree.
His biggest aspect is probably scoring and maybe distributing the ball, because people are going to look for him. Like, hypothetically, let's say he gets an offensive rebound or a defensive rebound, right? And he's pushing the ball up the court. People are going to try to double team him, correct?
Not
Sometimes.
necessarily.
It's very situationally dependent.
Exactly. That's my point, Jack. He's so good at basketball that he's going to drop that rock off to somebody who's going to score immediately, and that's an assist. So I don't like he's such a tough dude to even like we're talking about just. I don't
I
know.
mean, teams are gonna scout him. D. Just I know what you're trying to say. Teams are gonna scout
Yeah,
him.
I don't know how to put it in words, but yes, it's tough to
Teams are
defend
gonna
him.
scout
It's
him.
tough to guard him.
They're gonna learn his habits. They're gonna do different things. You know what I mean? And they're gonna play him to those. You know what I'm saying? So he's got to be able to adjust on the fly. That's all it comes down to. I mean, I don't think it's not like rocket science or nothing.
No,
I
it's
mean,
not even him.
good
It's
teams
not
and
even
smart
him.
coaches will fucking scout you. They're gonna learn your tendencies, your habits, everything, and they're gonna key in on those things. You know what I mean? But the great players are always able to adjust and manufacture things on the fly. So I think Cooper will get to that point. You know what I mean? Obviously, he's only 17, so all that processing is still happening. But at the end of the day, he'll be fine, man. Like I think people just be overreacting so damn much, man. That
No,
Seriously.
and you're not wrong. You're not
sickening.
wrong, bro. You're not wrong. I'm just saying like there's a word that I can't come up with that
Okay.
just the way he can distribute the ball, rebound the ball, push the rock, shoot the ball, like
He's a complete player. Yeah,
yeah.
He is.
I mean,
he's a complete player.
he's different in a way that we got 5 people on the mic right now that we can't like define it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. AC, what do you have to say?
I got you.
I think the biggest thing with Cooper Flagg is if you're talking about finding ways for him to score, one of the ways that you don't find a way for him to score is when you turn him into a standstill 3-point shooter. He's just not that right now, and I
True.
don't if he's showing the ability in practice or whatever, then you keep doing that and you keep letting it happen or whatever. But because you do have to keep the defense honest and you don't want them playing drop coverage on him. But as of right now, I am not. Like he can step into his threes, he can dribble into his threes, just like most freshmen can, because that's generally what you do in AAU and in high school and everything else. But it's very difficult to become a standstill shooter, and when his game is not predicated on shooting, then like one of the ways to take him out of the game is to make him a standstill shooter. So outside of that, if you're talking about him, running some actions as the ball handler, as the distributor or whatever else, he scores opportunistically because if his passing angles are cut off or if who he wants to throw the ball to is not available, then he's going to go and score. And I think that's the beauty of what you have in a Cooper Flagg is somebody at 6'10" who's able to do that. I think it's already there. Like I don't think that there's nothing different. It's already there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not rocket science. It's really not.
Yeah, it's really not.
It really is already there. So but I don't shit. If teams try to make him a standstill shooter, that's gonna be.
It should be
I just don't
interesting.
see that.
Theoretically,
I just don't see that happening.
it should be trouble for them if they do that. It should be.
It should be because, and the thing is too, I don't really see that happening because he's playing a 4. I mean, different things can happen.
I mean,
I think
you could play
it can
drop
happen in
coverage on
moments.
him. I could see
I
a
think
team.
it can happen in moments.
I could see Tommy Lloyd doing it Friday. I could see him playing drop coverage on Coop. He's shooting 20.
Hey, don't be don't be spoiling anything from the coach's corner coming up.
Yeah, sure. Right. But this is gonna be on the coach's corner, by the way. So get the fucking Patreon. Anyway,
if you couldn't tell by my earlier comment,
I could absolutely see Tommy Lloyd. He did it last year with Keyshawn Johnson against Mark Mitchell.
Who's they for anyway? Who's they for, man, for Arizona?
We're gonna get to that in a minute. Right now, they play. Let me get back to that screen.
Who they for, man? I hope it ain't that big slow ass dude. Like,
nah, they play. They start Toby Awaka and Trey Townsend is who they start at the 4 and 5. Neither one of them is a 5.
That's right.
Watch is gonna eat.
Trey Townsend is his.
Neither one of those guys is a 5.
That's
right. So
tough.
I could see. Here's the difference, though, right? Because not many defenders are as good as Keyshawn Johnson either. So it's one thing to just arbitrarily play drop coverage. It's another thing to play drop coverage and have somebody who can defend the way Keyshawn Johnson does. So I don't see it being a huge issue against Arizona, but I absolutely see Tommy Lloyd trying to do it based on Cooper Flagg's percentages.
Especially because he knows that Townsend doesn't have the foot speed to stay with Cooper on the perimeter. So I can see it happening. I can see it happening for sure, but that's gonna
to effect, we'll see what happens if they go that route. I have a feeling that'll make things a little easier for us to start that game if that's how they go.
Okay, so here we go. Let's get a couple predictions real quick. But AC, I'll start with you because, as you already pointed out, there will be a coach's corner. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. That's gonna be a coach's corner.
And not
Gonna be
only
breaking
that,
down Arizona.
but we will have as the Duke official Duke podcast of
The college huddle.
College huddle.
college shuttle. That's what I was trying to go for. Either way, though, we'll have the apparently AC. Is that true that we're gonna meet with the Arizona college
We're
shuttle?
working on it. Working on having a collaborative podcast with the Arizona crew.
If they want to handle it, they'll be on. But either way, so AC break the game down and tell us what's going to happen.
So as you can see right here on the screen, Wisconsin's cooking Arizona. Defensively, Arizona is not good. They're not a good team defensively.
Nope.
They're gonna wanna get up and down the floor to counteract that lack of defense. They're gonna shoot a lot of threes to try to counteract that lack of defense. They're gonna be at home, so that's gonna be something that's gonna be a tip of the cap for them because every team plays at home and they play better at home. Of course, that's just how things go. But in terms of matchups, we match up very well with this Arizona team. This is not the same game as it was in Cameron, in terms of their personnel and our personnel. Two very different games. They're a little more guard centric. They only have two bigs that get much time on the floor for them. Their team is not based on bigs. Their team is based kind of like we are right now. They play 4 out, 1 end, but that 1 end always ends up floating out to the perimeter, looking for either pick and roll actions or screen and pops. They love to shoot those threes. Good rebounding team. They are a very good rebounding team. They get a lot of long rebounds, kind of like we were just talking about in the mailbag. They get a lot of long rebounds. That's one of the parts of their game that's really good. And they have a few guys who can get to the rack off the dribble. You're talking about Caleb Love. You're talking about Jaden Bradley in particular. But both of those guys have flaws too. You can force Caleb Love to the baseline. If you force him to the baseline off the basket, he's going to turn the ball over. We talked about that last year, and he's the same player he's been for the last 18 years. Same guy. You force him to the baseline.
Horrible game.
And we have a team that can do that, by the way. We have a team that can force him into the actions he doesn't want. He had a bad game against Duke, like Jack just said last year, because we did that.
He had a bad game last game against
Wisconsin as well. Yeah,
he shot 2 for 13 and fouled out.
Yeah,
so he's not a good ball player. Let's be honest.
He's inconsistent.
He's inconsistent. He's also one of those guys that if the mood is right, he can shoot his team in that game. If the mood is right, he can shoot his team out of a game. That's who he is. So
yep.
I think Tyrese Proctor gets that assignment yet again. He always does a good job against Caleb Love, and this year he's probably not on the ball like he was last season. So not too worried about his offense this time around, because last time against Arizona he wasn't a factor offensively. I think this time around you see him playing better off the ball, especially offensively, that type of thing. So I can see that being a point for him this game. It's just being able to kind of play some defense and then take the standstill threes like he likes to take. I think we win this game. It was a game that worried me a little bit more in the preseason. I wanted to see how Arizona played. Seeing as how they've played this season, I do think we come away with a victory this game. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I do think we come away with a victory. And I'm putting it. They're going to want to take. They're going to want 78 possessions. I think we can slow them down a little bit, especially with the size that we offer and everything else. So I'm going to say, give me Duke 78. Give me Arizona 72.
AC, how many times have I said in the last 3 years that Duke needs to score 80 points?
You say it all the time.
All the time. That's the number, right?
80,
that's a number.
Historically been 70.
No.
That's a number.
80 points. I've said this for years. 80 points. That's the number. If Duke scores 80, you're not beating them.
Oh, so give me a prediction
for Duke versus Arizona.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
That's what we're talking about.
Like I said, dude, I'm not going to give you a scoring prediction, but if Duke scores 80 plus, you're not beating them.
All right.
Poms, what do you got?
I'm gonna go with gonna say the score is gonna be 87.
Oh, we had an actual score prediction.
Yeah, we're gonna get a score today. Give you
We're not doing
87-76 Duke.
Yeah,
We're gonna pull that out. Pause.
well,
87-76.
87-76. Love that. All right, Jack, what do you got?
81-73.
81,
That's the
73.
national championship score.
Move
No,
us to
it
80.
was that was 83-72.
No,
My bad.
82-72,
It was
right?
82-72.
82-72. That's right. Okay.
I think it's
Nope.
81-73.
All right.
I think Tyrese puts Caleb Love in hell. I think Amon just decides to destroy any of those like guys who would probably play the 2 or the 3 in the NBA if they make it there. Takes any of those guys that are going to be guarding him and just like pummels them. I think Coop is going to have a highlight game. I think it's going to be a fun time.
Oh, there you have it. There you have it. I feel like 82-75. 82-75. That's what I'm going with. Doesn't matter though. It's about Duke. It's about Duke. It's about building. It's about building to that next level. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to be? That's where we're trying to go. I already know that this team is not worried about the setbacks. They're not worried about the setbacks. They're worried about the next level. This team is built differently. Jon Scheyer built this team differently. Let's go, Duke.
Let's
Go
go, Duke,
Duke,
baby.
Let's go Duke.
Wait. I gotta get the. Oh no, where is it? We gotta get the splash screen on. There it is. Technical difficulties as usual. Let's go, Duke, baby.
Go Duke.